So we can start. So very good evening to all the students who are INI CET aspirants and who are going to appear very soon in the exam in a couple of days from today. So it's a session. Trust me, students, this is not a session to give you any last minute advice or something, but we are here to not only boost you. We are also here to boost you, but also give you an idea about the change in pattern. And based upon our experiences, what are the small little things you should be doing and not doing over the next 48 hours and also in the exam section. So we'll be keeping it very short. I am Dr. Sandeep Sharma, the pediatric faculty at DocTutorials, and we have a elite team of guests with us today. We have Dr. Raja Mendel sir, our surgery faculty. We have Dr. Rajiv Dhawan sir, our ENT faculty. We are also pleased to have Dr. Gayatri, who's our OBG faculty, Dr. Rajasi, our PSM faculty, Dr. Supriya, who's our microbiology faculty, Dr. Rohit Daniel, who's our orthopedics faculty. So I welcome all the panelists to this live session.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So without wasting any time, just to give you a briefing, or most of the INI-CET aspirants already know that the paper pattern has changed this time. INI-CET people are, very fond of changing the pattern every year. Sometimes they divide the exam into two. Sometimes they put multiple correct option kind of questions. They keep on doing something. And this time they have made it into a block set of question format, which was very recently updated by most of the faculties. And I will hand it over to Raja Mahindran sir, because sir said students should not be panicking because this is old wine in new bottle. Sir, please enlighten us. What do you mean by it and why students should not be frightened because of this new pattern?
Hi, sir. Good evening, all. Dr. Raja Mahindran, your surgery faculty here. So to be frank, this is, you all know very well, all the AIMS aspirants, those who have written the exam before, they know very well. This AIMS exam will be always tough to review the questions. The 200 question completing one flow is always difficult. Many times, many students will always tell that we could not revise some questions, we could not go back to the review questions. I think this will be more helpful. They can review the question if needed within the 45 minutes, and they can finish off the planned program within 45 minutes. That will be good option actually. Actually, this is going to be a better option for the students, and will be helping them to track each segment. So it is going to be like a 4 exam in one stitch. So not like a single large exam. It is going to be small snacks. It is going to be like a eating of 4 small snacks instead of taking a full meals. Definitely students will like this, and definitely they are going to crack more better answers. Much better answers are going to be correct for them. I don't think this is going to affect any student this exam. So I request students, don't get panicked. Just appear casually and answer all the questions step by step. If you have a doubt, just mark it and finish off the exam in 35 to 40 minutes. And last 5 minutes, you see back the review question. That's enough for this 45 minutes. So all the best for your exams. I'm sure surgery questions are going to be easy. Do well. Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Rajiv sir, I hand it over to you. Sir, please enlighten students about what they should be expecting in the exam and what is your take? Like, do you see it in some sort of a disruptor, or is it going to be more of the same?
Yeah. When the bottle changes, the experience of tasting the wine also changes actually. So let me give my take on that. Number one, be aggressive in the paper. INICT, you cannot play a very dormant game. You know it actually. If your attempt is below 125, you are not in the main pool of the contestants. Please understand it. Number one, it means that in the module number 1, if you're leaving more than 4 questions, there'll be a lot of pressure on you to really attempt more aggressive on the second, third, and fourth. Number one. So number one is be more aggressive. Do not leave more than 4 questions in the module, any module. That's not a good idea. And number 2, it's like 2 to 4 you can leave, but any question you have idea about, the main scheme of the question, and 2 choices you can rule out, you must attempt it. In the totally unknown question, which you do not know at all, 2 choices which are diametrically opposite, autosomal dominant or autosomal recessive, for long QT interval or short and QT interval, answer has to be one of them. Let's be aggressive, number 1. Number 2, be sure about the answer. Be sure means that do not mark too many questions for a review, because the document clearly says that the review marked question would not be considered for assessment of the rank. So be sure, be aggressive, be sure. Number 3 is that with this change of pattern, you have to understand it's not a 100-meter sprint in one go. It's a relay race now, but unfortunately, you are passing baton to yourself from yourself. So you will have to shed away the hangover of the previously done module, because maybe the module number one is not really great module for you. It may be not your strong forte. Maybe next module has OBGY and gynae, and you really followed our faculties, and your faculties, whatever you've done is really your module. So you have to develop a mindset for that. How to do that? Tomorrow we have one opportunity coming. One day still pending. That's why the session is today. Tomorrow, do one thing. Devise a custom module of 50-50 question of mixed bag and do them in 45 questions. Try to create a simulation in your brain that how would you handle it when you actually face the exam on 5th of November. So my take would be that with this change in pattern, you have to be careful that you cannot really keep a lot of things for the last part of the exam, because there's no last part of exam. Last part of module is there. So that's my first take on that, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Very, very useful advice given by Rajiv, sir. So the point is not to panic, but at the same time, we should not be keeping too many questions for review at the last. We have also been joined by Dr. Pallavi, who's our dermatology faculty. Welcome, ma'am. Pallavi, ma'am, please unmute yourself and your views upon
Yes.
the new format, and what are the suggestions from your end? And what is your suggestion for if someone just wants to have a look at the last minute topics tomorrow for Dharma? Any suggestions from your end?
Hello, sir. Thank you so much. As has just been rightly said by Dr. Rajiv, Dhawan, you have to be very aggressive in this paper. You have to see it as 4 different sets which you have to attempt, and be aggressive. Try to keep a mental time frame of only 35 minutes for each module. Okay, because 35 minutes you solve the questions, then you have at least 5-7 minutes for review, and do not spend a lot of time on lengthy questions. Just first, try to see all the 50 questions within 35 minutes and mark as many as is possible. Leave very few for the end. And one more thing, view them as separate papers. If your one set does not go well, don't let it affect the others. Okay, so that is also very important. Don't get discouraged, don't get upset if your one set doesn't go well. Try to see them as 4 different blocks and finish them within the first 35 minutes. Also, don't panic. It's not as if they have changed the questions that they were asking. It's not as if they have changed your exam. It is the same exam which you would have sat for otherwise, even if the pattern was the same. It is just that they have divided those 200 questions into 4 parts. So your preparation does not, reduce. Your confidence should not go down. Nothing has actually changed. So you will be attempting the same 200 questions. It is just that you will not have time to go back and look at 200 together. You will just be seeing 50 questions and reviewing 50 questions at one time. So don't be very bothered, don't be very upset, and don't get discouraged if one set does not go very well. That's it. And about the important topics, in tomorrow's day, I would suggest only look at the last 6 years INI-CT papers. Revise the questions that have been asked in the last 6 exams, 2020 onwards. Do only those points, some important notes that you've made for last minute revision, some which you've stuck on your study table or so. Don't do anything new tomorrow. Very, very important to be very thorough with the PYQs, because in the INI-CT exam, some way or the other, they do ask you the questions that have been asked in the last 3 years. And don't worry at all. You are not giving any different exam from what you are already, preparing for.
Great suggestions from your end, ma'am. So students, please note that each set is going to be like a mini exam by itself. Even if your first set goes wrong, you should not lose heart. Try to do the second, third, and the subsequent sets better. And ma'am has already given some nice suggestions based upon that. Regarding the attempt to be made, Raja Mindra sir has just answered the query. Like, I personally feel attempt should be based upon merit, but as sir said, 45 out of 50 should be your target. About 90% you should be attempting. And one thing you need to keep in mind, that suppose if you attempt only half of the questions in the first set, you will not be able to come back to that set once the set is over. So you will be forced to then increase your attempt in the subsequent sets. And suppose the subsequent sets are tougher compared to the first set, it is going to be problematic for many of us. So attempt should be moderate. It should be based upon the difficulty level of the paper. But at the same time, we should not be, attempting only 25, 30, thinking that I will make it up in the subsequent section. This is one thing we need to watch out for. I hand it over to Dr. Gayatri. Gayatri ma'am is our OBG faculty, and ma'am is a postgraduate. Ma'am has done her PG from AIMS Delhi itself. So ma'am knows the insights, how the AIMS people work, how their mind works. Ma'am, your suggestions regarding the same, and any useful tips you want to give for the last students.
Thank you, sir. So basically, students, you should not panic at this point of time. Nothing has changed. It is just the same exam. The only change that has come up is they have just divided as per the timing. So the main advantage that this provides is that they are dividing the time by themselves so that you don't fall short. So in these 45 minutes, you have to give a very focused approach. So that, as Rajiv Dhawan sir rightly pointed out, we should not mark so many questions for review. Give a focused approach and try to mark it as much as possible and try to attempt as many questions as possible itself in the first attempt. And always at least leave 5 to 7 minutes for the last time so that you finish it within this time, and the last 5 to 7 minutes should be for review. This should be your plan for each of the batch so that you get enough time for review of it as well. So another thing is, after one module, like initially the 50 questions are over, usually we have a tendency to look back of what we have missed, maybe what we have not written. So please avoid that. As soon as one module is over, I would ask you to take a deep breath once or twice so that that's totally out of your mind, and then start fresh from the next module. Many times we tend to think about the previous one, and that actually causes a mind block, which might hamper how you might be doing in the subsequent sets. So always, as soon as that set is over, just leave it there, take deep breaths and start with the fresh set. And always try to attempt as much as possible. If you're sure about the answer, mark it fast. If you're not sure, at least give an educated guess about that, where you can rule out the options. And if you're not at all sure, and if you're finding that one question is too difficult, just mark it for review as well. Because you should not spend a lot of time on one question as such. If you are blocked somewhere, your mind is blocked, you are unable to proceed forward, just mark it for review and come back to that question in the last 5 to 7 minutes. Definitely, you should plan it in such a way that the last 5 to 7 minutes would be for review of these questions.
Thank you so much for insightful advice, ma'am. And after this, I hand it over to our PSM faculty, Dr. Rajsi. Ma'am, PSM is always the critical subject, and it is the make or break subject in INI-CET. Your take on any additional suggestions from your end regarding the new pattern, and something for last minute thing you want students to see in your subject.
Hello. Like sir said, PSM is something which is kind of scary for students. But in INI, I think as far as the exam pattern is concerned, I don't have to add anything new because pioneers have already said what is new, and you're all good to go now. Now, regarding, just one point, I would like to repeat what everybody has said. Please do not panic. You are all set to go for the exam. So what I want to tell you is, like Pallavi madam said, as far as INI-CET is concerned, previous year questions are very important. So you have to concentrate tomorrow. We have only 24 hours to 48 hours max, not even 48 hours. So what I want to tell you is, I want you to concentrate on the previous year questions. And as far as PSM is concerned, I have few topics to suggest, which I think I can make use of this opportunity. So would you mind if I say, 2 minutes regarding the topics? Because okay. So one is levels of prevention, that is very important. Then biomedical waste management, antenatal. So that same thing, Gayatri madam also would have taken. So antenatal, number of antenatal visits, those things are repeatedly asked question. Then regarding vaccines, you should be knowing about the universal immunization, then the newer vaccines, vaccine vial monitor, then contraceptives, then some diseases from where they always ask questions are malaria, HIV, TB, leprosy, rabies, Zika, and Nipah. and study designs. So these are the points that I want you to go through and read once again and to revise before going for the exam. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your suggestions. And if someone just wants to have a look, you can come back to this video once it goes up on the YouTube, listen to that part, and just go through these, at least have a look at these things. And if a question is asked, you have that confidence booster in the paper. With this in mind, yes, PSM is a big subject, but so is microbiology. And so we have our microbiology faculty, Dr. Supriya, with us. Ma'am, your suggestions, your views on the subject, any last minute tips, and anything you want to add to the new pattern and some tips for the students.
Thank you so much, sir. First and foremost, I think most of the things that needs to be understood is already told. But having said that, it's around about the same thing that you have to remember. You need to solve each of it as a module in itself. So nothing is going to be a carryover to the other. Second important thing, time management is the key. The more you are able to answer, the more confident you are, better is your chances. And no matter how much you say you don't carry over it, it's bound to carry over. So always remember, the first important thing here is your confidence. Wherever you are very confident about it, do not think twice. Wherever you're not very confident, please take this time out so that you have the last time to come back and think about it as well. Now, coming to the subject, sir, since most of it is already covered, what I suggest is, most of the times, especially when it comes to exams like, there's always one or two questions which will always be asked when it comes to the current scenario which is existing. So like how ma'am had already told, Zika is an important thing to remember now, because the first outbreak has happened today in Karnataka. So any of these viruses which are of importance, especially coming to the scenario that it is right now in, it's always important. So Nipah is an important one to Zika is important. We've had an outbreak of conjunctivitis, so a lot part of adenovirus is very important. Coxsackie virus for hand, foot, mouth disease, yes, that's very important because we've had an outbreak. So all the recent outbreaks, I think one or two questions you can definitely expect in the exam, because the trend is also understanding which are the important ones to know and what are the symptoms. So please remember, important ones, always the current scenario, the current important ones, along with the last 5-year questions. That's how probably would be the best approach for the exam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, message from ma'am to the students: look at the important outbreaks which have happened, trending things, important viruses, important bacteria. Some of them have been named by ma'am and by Rajsi ma'am also. So, if you have missed out on anyone, have a look just before going for the exam, and we can hope that some question is asked from that. Next, we move to our orthopedics faculty, Dr. Rohit Daniel. Sir, your comments, your suggestions regarding the subject per se, and also about the new pattern. Any last minute tips for the students, sir? Rohit, sir?
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much, Sandeep, sir. And good afternoon, my dear friends. I think almost all the important points have been covered. I just wanted to mention a single point. See, there are lots of students who take their time warming up. See, in the last year, you had 200 questions and you had 3 hours. And it was all right if you take 30 minutes for the first 30 questions. You can always get back the time if you pick your speed up. But this time, that is not going to be possible, because the first set of questions, you need to finish those 50 questions in 45 minutes. So you cannot take that time to warm up. So this time, you cannot be a Rahul Dravid and knock few balls here and there and believe that you can pick up the run rate at the end of the match. That is not going to be possible, because this is not a one-day match. This is going to be a 2020 match. I am just worried about the first module of questions, first set. Subsequent sets and all, you are definitely going to pick up your pace. So whenever you are setting your foot inside the examination hall itself, please make up your mind that I am not going to waste my time for the in the first questions. So I will attempt that. And please, this is very, very important for the first module, because that is the trend setter module. And if you go wrong there and you if you are not able to answer, let's say 10 questions in that module, then you are flustered. Panic sets in, and that's it. All the rest of the modules are going haywire. So we do not want that. So please do not take your time to warm up. Be like Virendra Sehwag. Try to hit boundaries from the first ball itself. So that's my 2 cents. What do you say,
So
Sandeep
you're
sir?
like
And
the AIMS exam. You have incorporated the current trend. So the World Cup going on, you brought
yeah,
the
yeah,
current trend
India is
into it.
doing really well, isn't it, Frank?
Excellent
So we
advice,
want,
sir. Yes.
yes.
I think
Very,
students would be able to relate more with Rohit sir than what we have said.
a very nice
I
cricket
want all my
analogy given
students to
by
be
sir.
like Rohit Sharma, hit sixes out of the park, and I wish them all the best.
Great, sir. Great. So, sir, I'll be summary. One of the a couple of queries have also been asked by students. One student has asked, "Sir, ma'am, should we make a guess if we can rule out two options, or I can take the risk with ruling out only one option?" Rajiv Dhawan, sir, your comments, your views on this.
Yeah, when you say that, like certain question are where you are having the instinct that answer is out of these two, go with that. I always believe in one thing: common things are asked commonly, and rare things are rarely even in INICT. Actually, let me tell you, except for pharma and all that. But what we do is we do, overthinking. Overthinking means that we change the answer, and then whenever we have marked the common thing from the rare, then and we have lost the marks there. So when your instinct guides you to really see that out of these two is the most probable choice, you think like examiner, please an autosomal dominant recessive, or some two choices very close, or that's what they want you to assess. But still, I'll say go with the common diagnosis, most common diagnosis, because they never say select the best answer or select the correct answer. They say select the best response. Okay, it means the other choices can also be partially correct or nearly correct or possible over there. But that doesn't mean that you start thinking on the rare lines. Just stick to the common diagnosis. That's very, very important. Sanisha, one thing I would like to add for tomorrow, if I am appearing on 5th November and 4th November is the only day left with me, I will do definitely, like as Rohit beautifully explained and created an analogy, it's like 2020, but you're playing 4 matches all together in one day. So I would put my scent on this thing, train the brain. Please train the brain because you cannot really play 24 matches on the same day without getting trained for it a day prior. It's not NSTD gives surprises. They never give you too much time. And please, tomorrow, if possible, do the custom modules 50 in 45 minutes and do not cross that. Do not go back to that thing to see it again. As Rohit beautifully said, that you cannot really play slow, and you will catch up the speed because you cannot go back. And from me as a student, it's a bit change actually, I would say, because I have a habit of in the last part I'll see again what to really do. If you have that habit, then you have to curb it. So practice that. Number one. Number two, please do see the images. They are very fond of cadaveric images of anatomy. They love pathology images. They love actually surgery, microbiology images. Please see them in radiology, of course, in the 2-3 hours. And then before you sleep, see the pharma new drugs, immunomodulators, whatever they're, PYQTs, you know that already, and do the PSM data before you sleep. And, as Rajasi ma'am told, focus more on those topics. Take the good sleep and really go for the examination.
Very useful suggestions given by you, sir. And another query has been asked by the student. He has asked, yes, about can visuals be clubbed together in one block? See, it is something that we want to understand here. Nobody knows how the exam is going to be. There are multiple possibilities. Number one, they can put, all the one-liners in one block. Then they can put all the visuals in one block. They can put all the lengthy questions and clinicals in one block. They can go this way. They can mix up the question and simply, take up those 200 questions and divide them randomly into equal parts. You can have some areas in which a lot of difficult questions and easy questions are clubbed together, or it is going to be a total mix. Nobody knows how it is going to be. If there is a atypical pattern, 5 minutes, just try to analyze how the paper is, how those 50 questions are appearing, and then decide your strategy in the exam. Don't go with preconceived notion and try not to panic. Because when we panic, we start thinking, oh, others might be prepared. Trust me, nobody has an idea about it. Till you sit in the exam, you are the first ones who are going to see before anybody else. So the key is to just absorb that pressure of the first 5 to 10 minutes. Rohit sir and other faculties also said the same. Just absorb that pressure. Let the momentum build up, but don't be like Rahul Dravid. I would say not only you may be a fan. I'm a fan of Virat Kohli, but don't play like Virat Kohli. Kohli consolidates first, then he picks up the pace. Here you will not have time. So like Virendra Sehwag, I would say Surya Kumar Yadav, play reverse sweeps if you want, but try to be fast. Time is going to be critically important. Sir, surgery is one of the one of the biggest subjects along with medicine, and INICET is no exception. Any last minute topics, if someone is underconfident in surgery, you would suggest have a look. And also, sir, trauma, it's the perennial problem for students, sir.
Yes, sir. Definitely, there is a new update of Bailey has come now. 28th edition of Bailey has come now. So many updates are there in surgery, especially from trauma. I think they all should go through all the emergencies which are needed in surgery, like perforation, peritonitis, trauma-related topics. Especially many changes are there. For example, pericardial tamponade, no more needle pericardiocentesis advice. Now they are advising thoracotomy, and all those things. Many new updates are there. I request you all to go through the new updates and read the emergency topics in surgery the last minute, because 50% of the questions in surgery will be from emergency, 50% of the other questions will be from elective topics. So by reading the emergency topics, definitely you can crack good score. And I'm sure surgery paper is going to be comparatively easier than the other exams we had so far. So all the best for your exams. Thank you all.
So thank you so much, sir, for these inputs. So all the other faculties, anyone wants to add something coming to your mind to share with the students? Any faculty? Okay, I'll just summarize whatever all the faculties have said as far as I have remembered. First of all, the exam pattern is going to be the same for everyone. 4 blocks, 45 minutes each, 50 questions to be answered. Do not keep too much for the end. Mark for review should be done, but should be minimum, and don't waste time. Time management is going to be critical. Don't play like Rahul Dravid and Virat Kohli. Play like Virendra Sehwag, as sir said. 4 blocks, be mentally ready. It can be a mix, it can be images together, it can be case scenarios together, or it can be a random mix like previous years. Just try to take 1 block at one time. Each block consider as a separate paper. Try to keep the attempt around 90% or so. As Rajiv sir said, if you have time, try to practice one set of 50 MCQs with 45-minute alarm set, so that your mind is conditioned and you don't start panicking in the paper. Attempt each set based on merit. 90 to 95% should be the attempt, and first paper in all circumstances, attempt should not be less than 50%. In all circumstances, it should not be less than 50% your total attempt. And if you leave too many in the first or second set, you will have to cover up in the subsequent sets, and it will just increase your negative marking. Atypical questions will not decide your ranks, and whatever is trending, if you want to see something in the last week, focus on those trending things. So I think that is all from our end. And it's an open house. Any last minute tips from the other faculty?
Simple. See, I have seen the regarding dermatology and other subjects as well. INICET will ask very simple questions. They just want to know whether you know your subject or not, whether you have read or not. So don't be very panicked. Don't think that you are going for a completely new exam. No, you are going for that exam only, the papers which you have already seen that have come over the last many years. So it is similar type of questions that are going to come. Nothing much has changed except the way in which you are going to solve the MCQs. That's it. So don't worry in tomorrow's time too much to revise, but I will say the first priority that you will give is 200 questions into 6. That is the previous year's 3 papers. If you can manage to revise that tomorrow and see the important images along with the trending topics, I think you are good to go for the exam on 5th. So make it a priority to just run through the previous 3 papers and practice, try to practice, as sir said, one set, so that you gain that confidence before going into the exam.
There is also one query on review questions and its evaluation. As NICT people have rightly said, they very clearly mentioned review questions you can put, but once the 45 minutes of that block is over, review questions if you have not marked them, they will not be considered for evaluation. It is different from NEET PG exam, where they are sometimes considered. In INI-CET, they will not be considered.
Yeah, they
So
don't
if
be
you
considered.
start, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So if you start with the paper and you have very lengthy questions, you can keep them for review, but keep it in your mind that before 45 minutes, and in fact, don't think of 45 minutes, keep it as 40 minutes. Before the 45 minutes end, you have to decide about whether you want to mark it or you want to leave it as such. Because if you have not marked them, that will not be accepted, that will not be taken for evaluation. This is something need to be clear. Rajiv sir, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just saying that by 40, 42 minutes, your screen should be showing number of attempted question is like maybe, 41, 42 questions should be attempted in every this thing, because don't go too low also, again, I say. And I think this is the biggest change for me actually as a student, I would say. I will resist the temptation to mark for review, because by chance my last 10, 12 questions are very longer, lengthier, and I get totally consumed in those questions and I don't get time to get back to those questions which are actually my strongholds. I would lose the time. In fact, if you get time, you have that an idea that 40-second question like was that I have a doubt. Go through that in case you want to go through, but don't mark for review, because that might be a little bit tricky situation. Because it's the first time we are actually seeing that. So though people might say that for a student, I would say there is a little bit of like trick here to keep in mind. Don't mark in your mind that okay, I need to review these questions if time allows me to, because sometimes your module, I don't know which module you would start with, because they might have randomized the module also. Your module might be little lengthier questions over there, and you might get, oh my god, my first module actually I knew question, but I marked them for review. In fact, I attempted 41, but only they'll count 36 or 35. That would change the flavor of your mind for the next 3 modules. So be careful. Believe me, now this paper is not about knowledge actually. It's about training your brain to accept this challenge, which is a little fresher one for all of us. But I think we have got one more day and really, live those moments. How would you really go through? So I think the winner will be who will be having the sense of time management along with the knowledge, because paper would be having like all those people who ranked very nicely, their attempt has been above 185 or more than that, it already, so now actually those people, the fight is who has the presence of mind, time management, and who doesn't do anything silly in view of this new pattern. So that's what I think. Yes.
Correct, sir. Gayatri ma'am, you have cracked the EAMS exam some years back, not too far back. Last day, if you are in students' place, which subject would you be focusing on? Any particular subject? There is a query on this.
Sure, sir. So I would be more focusing on the basic subjects rather than going into vast this thing, like subjects which you can definitely cover and where you can definitely get the marks, such as forensic. Like if you cover forensic, it's very easy to cover, maybe 1 or 2 hours, and definitely the 5 to 10 questions that are going to come, you can definitely crack from that. The basic subject, they usually focus upon anatomy, physiology, biochem a bit, pharma, the basic, the drugs, the updates which are come, which you usually forget, and pathology as well. It's very important, and even OBG is a very important topic for INISET. And I would suggest that cover for the short subjects where you have a good grasp of it, so that you definitely score that subject well. And apart from this, I always ask everyone to keep a volatile book as well, in which they have written down the things which are very easily forgettable. So if you have maintained that book, that would be the best thing. Just go through it. And if possible, if you have highlighted some area in the previous year questions, like which you tend to forget, or there is some confusion, or which are frequently repeated. For example, in OBG, it is always the disorders of sexual development, such as swells, androgen insensitivity, the lower genital tract infections, and Mullerian anomalies, hypertension, contraception, all these antenatal care, all these are frequently repeated. If you have those topics, just brush through that once more, the most frequently repeated questions like this, that will also help you to gain a lot of marks at the end. Yeah. And if that volatile book is with you, that where you have written down those things, just go through it once again, once or twice through it, so that you won't forget those easily volatile points easily.
One more thing coming to my mind. One day before the exam, we all have been students. One day before the exam, 2 days before the exam, everyone feels that kuch yaad nahi hai, we have forgotten everything. That is true for everyone. Even the eventual topper, it is going to be the same. In fact, I would say it is a godsend opportunity. Disruption whenever happens, a lot of people panic. if you are a good student, I don't say that you are a university topper or something, but if you're a good student, you have worked hard, this might be your opportunity where there is a atypical thing coming up. Time management becomes the key. You hold your nerves, take all the basics, and finish all the four sets reasonably well within time with confidence. I think you have a very good fighting chance compared to what you were if you were going to prepare to sit in the previous exam. A tougher paper or any disruption is always good. That is what
Sir, I always tell the students, the people who top, the toppers are not the ones who are most knowledgeable. Marking MCQs is an art. So somebody who masters that art better scores a better rank. So, this is that chance to show that you have mastered the art of marking the MCQs. Don't overthink the easy questions. Don't underthink the difficult questions. They are, the keys to getting a good rank in the exam. And don't worry at all. You all have worked hard. Just a change of pattern one day prior doesn't alter your preparation. Just have your confidence, revise whatever you have on your schedule tomorrow, make a single practice module and go rock the exam. That's it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Rohit sir, Supriya ma'am, Rajsi ma'am, anything from your end? Because now students need to revise, so we need to close the session.
Yeah. Patterns of exams will keep on changing, but what doesn't change is the amount of hard work you put in. So that is what matters in the end. All these are minor distractions, if you ask me. This will have probably less than 1% effect in the whole exam. If you have put in your hard work, it's the law of nature that you will be rewarded. And over the last few weeks, I know that most of the students have put in the maximum effort they can. And I feel that whoever has put in the hard work, if they keep their mind stable during the time of exam, if they manage, sorry, if they manage the time well, then they are going to come out with very high rank. That's what I feel. All the others are minor distractions. You don't have to worry about any of those things. If you have studied well and prepared well, then go in with an open heart. Do not panic. Do not get flustered. Just keep an open mind, a stable mind. Do not get worried. You are going to do very, very well. That is a guarantee.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, sir. Rajsi ma'am, Supriya ma'am.
Nothing more to add, but I would like to say that for this exam, especially since we are having a new pattern, stress is something common to every student. So I think stress in a way is good. If you are stressed, don't feel that it's something bad. We have something known as eustress. So eustress is something which will definitely drive you forward. So if you have it, take it as something positive and you try to make maximum use of it. So if you are under stress, then the last 24 hours is going to be really, really good for you because you will try to accumulate as much as possible, which will definitely reward you during the exam. And so that doesn't mean that you have to panic, but make good use of your stress and definitely you will do well. And as far as community medicine is concerned, I'm very sure it's going to be really easy. And whenever there is when the pattern changes and whenever the students are under stress, I think what we have seen usually is the topics will be good. Like they'll just try to include only simple topics because they know that already you are under stress because they have changed the pattern. So the topics and the type of questions that you will get, I guess, would be a little more easier than what you were having for the previous INI. So that is what I want to tell you. So make good use of your stress and definitely you will do well. All the best and the best wishes and prayers from our side.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Supriya ma'am, any parting comments?
Just about it. It's just about the thing that Rohit sir seems to become Robin Sharma and talking like the monk who sold his Ferrari, and then there's a lot of yarn that's coming out of it. But yeah,
I've read this book actually.
That's a very good book. It's so true, sir. But everything that you said is actually pieces of advice that needs to be followed, and I totally second whatever you said. All the best for the exam, and you have our best wishes, and we're hoping to see you come out in flying colors.
Rajiv sir, before you go, sir, 2 words of motivation.
No motivation. You're done well, and you will do well. just keep in mind, paper will have a lot of topics which you know. Just do not really change choices too many and think too lateral. That's the only worry I have. As ma'am said that, don't underthink, don't overthink. Keep playing, and just don't panic. If paper module, remember my word, if module 1 goes little bit shaky, do not worry. As more 2020 matches same day. So let us play the remaining 3 well. This exam, as Sandeep said, that disruption brings opportunity. So guys, this is not just knowledge now. You may have a bit of less knowledge in few subjects, but if you now play the game well, believe me, you can catch up the rank much, much, much higher. So my best wishes to all of you. Just stay calm, composed. A doctor should be like that, by the way. And the same spirit as a surgeon is operating, as a medical consultant is managing MI, with the same stability of mind, attempt the paper. Best luck.
The net run rate high रखना है बस.
Yeah. No, do not under attempt. That's my learning about INICT.
Yes.
If you are a Game of Thrones fan, chaos is a ladder.
Yeah.
Chaos is a ladder. Chaos is going to be there tomorrow. Climb the ladder. Make use of this opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was lovely taking this live session with all the esteemed members. We at DocTutorials are there for all of you students. We do hope, every single one of us do hope that all of you do extremely well in the exam, and our prayers are with you. And whatever happens, we are here. So let's connect after you have cracked your exam and after you have secured a dream branch of your choice. Thank you so much. Thank you all the
best
for taking out your time.
All the very best.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
All the best, guys. All the best.
All the
Thank you.
best.
Thank you.